I actually work with about 1,600 degrees of fire, and it's hot. It looks like magic. I can go to Africa and see people that look just like me doing what I do. I'm eating real fire. It's a tribal dance. It's something that we are bringing back to our ancestors. It's something that we're gifting ourselves with to empower ourselves to tell our story. I don't have anything that protects my body, my mouth, my hands, because I get anything that you want to do, you can do if you put your mind to it. I would never know everything in this journey. There are too many combinations in fire spinning for me to actually master it all. But this is my healing journey. And so every time I spin, every time I perform, I unlock a piece of me and a piece of my ancestors. My name is Aisha Dickey first, but my performance name is Blue Flame, and I am a fire performer. The type of performances I actually do are fire eating, fire fans, as well as palm torches. But as a fire performer, I get an opportunity to use all of my props. I also have a fire crown that I've actually included into my prop collection. And so I use these different props to entertain. For some events I use all, for some events I use 1 to 3, but they're all important in my performance and they're all very special to me. They're investment into my craft, and they're actually all ways for me to tell my story as a performer. As a new performer, I actually only learned technique and the understanding of fire dancing as a performance. It was only later that I actually got into learning the history and the understanding of what fire dancing actually meant and where it actually came from. So the history of fire dancing actually is an African, Polynesian, also hints of Caribbean history. And so it actually involves a dance with fire. And the fire props can be different types of props. You have fire fans, fire wands. Fire wands are usually things that the performers eat with. You have palm torches, which also you see the ladies actually kind of levitate as belly dancers with fire palm torches. And actually, it's an art and a dance, actually, and a story all in one. And so the fire dancing actually tells a tribal story depending on what region you're in and what country you're in. Polynesians actually tell a historical story behind their African dance. They actually include it in rituals, weddings, celebrations, all types of amazing things. So fire dancing is a healing, it's an energy, it's an element. And any time that you're able to be gifted to do anything with an amazing element, then you gotta know the history. For me, fire dancing is truly a healing. It's something that has been a game changer in my journey of who I am and what it is I do as an artist. Well, first, I'm an Air Force veteran. As an Air Force veteran, so becoming something so visual, coming from the background that I come from, first of all, is amazing. 3 years ago, I would have never thought that I would actually be a fire performer. I actually attended an amazing political event. I was with a friend of mine, and I ended up meeting a young lady that owned a circus. What I found out was that aerial was something that you had to use your upper body for to, perform. And not only that, it was beautiful. And so I had never heard of what aerial arts was. So as soon as she introduced it, I Googled. I got on the phone, I got to Googling, like, what is aerial arts? And so when I saw the art, I was absolutely taken aback. I started in this amazing collective that I thought I was going to just be working out, doing a fitness class in. And there were many types of circus arts that we were learning. The different circus arts were aerial, fire art. It was stilts, poi, and we had this little magical glass ball that you could kind of like elevate an orb. They call it an orb. When I started as an aerialist, there were only 2 aerial silks that we had in our collective. And so a lot of times we would have to share the aerial silks. As I began to learn as an aerialist with my collective, there was not a lot of time and opportunity due to other performers needing the silks to actually, maybe do something that they practice on a performance that they have upcoming. Because I'm not a trained aerialist, they're a lot more proficient in the art. And so they felt that they were a little bit more entitled to aerial silks, and that kind of moved me to learn more about what was around me. And so we got introduced to actual fire arts as well. As we were learning in the circus arts community, we learned in the back of a club that we used to train in. It was this amazing club that we actually performed in and trained. And we got to the back, and I didn't know anything about fire arts at all. But I was like, what in the heck is going on here? I'm not doing this part of the rehearsal, the practice. I'm good. This is not where I'm at. This is not what I want to do. I let everyone cycle through and touch the fan and perform the fans, and they got to me. And they was like, Aisha, do you want to, try this out? And my first mind was like, no, I don't. I'm good. Nah, like y'all can miss me with that. Because there's also a narrative that we have to understand about people of color and fire. There's a lot of things that resonate to us with fire that we don't understand, that are ingrained in us. And we're trying to, overcome fears, but we're trying to figure out why we're not, because a lot of this is ingrained in us, and you've got to overcome fear for yourself. So as I looked at it, I said, I'm gonna try this, and I'm not gonna like it. And so I had already mentally in my mind thought and manifested that I'm not gonna like it. And that's one thing about the power of manifestation. You have to be positive in everything that you do. But as soon as I put them in my hands, that negative vibe of how I felt about it changed. For me, it was like overcoming. It was like overcoming fear. It was going on this new journey of empowerment for myself, empowerment for the people around me, because I'm not a very outgoing person when it comes to my art. I'm real chill about, what it is I do. I don't push it on people. But the thing about fire arts is, regardless of if you want to push it on people or not, people start to see fire and they're like, what are you doing? And so I get a lot of inquiries about why I started and what drove me to do it. There really was just an introduction, of someone putting them in my hands, letting me feel the energy of it. Once I felt the energy of it, learning technique, because a lot of times in circus arts, they go off of technique. They don't go off of your natural flow. So being able to throw my natural flow in along with circus arts techniques really, amped my game up. I feel like a time traveler when I'm fire dancing. I feel like I'm in Africa somewhere, doing exactly what I was taught by my ancestors. I'm not me. I see souls, but I don't see people. I'm about to cry because of you asking that question. It makes me feel enlightened, aware. I'm a very, what do you call it? I'm a Southern girl. I think everybody's cool. I love everybody. But there's a protection that I get a possession of when I'm performing as a fire performer. There's a different badass energy that I can give because I'm such a sweet Southern girl. And, I think that's where the surprise of people seeing me do what it is I do, because I'm a very soft-hearted person. I'm badass. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm straight from Memphis. Don't get it misconstrued. But I'm a Southern girl that was raised by a woman that taught me how to be, channel my divine feminine energy, how to be a lady, how to always be a woman about everything that I do. So, it makes me feel empowered. It makes me feel strong. It makes me feel like what I was assigned to be by the Most High. And that is a leader, that is a history preserver. I've always been passionate about my history, where I come from, even when it was tried, to quiet it down, or you're told not to ask. I've just always been that person that pushes about history and where we come from, and going deeper in history lessons, about us pre-slavery, before, when we were kings and queens, and fire dancers that actually performed for our kings and queens, and fire dancers that were kings and queens. There are so many things that we don't understand about our history and why we love it. If you're interested in understanding more about dance, study your history. And that was something that I had to do. I had to study my history and feel the energy that my ancestors felt as they were doing it, because that's why they did it. It's a healing. And some people, they feel like I've stole the art. They feel like I've taken away from the art, but I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing it back home to where it belongs tribally. I can't steal something that's already in my spirit. I can't steal something that's already in my DNA. I can't steal anything that doesn't come from my ancestors in the continent. I can go to Africa and see people that look just like me doing what I do. So there's no way for me to take something that belongs to me. This belongs to me. And that's where the gift of and the passion and the calling come from. This is not something I've searched for. This found me. And if I had been searching for it and, looking for it, that would be different. That's how you steal something. That's how you take something from someone. But when it's introduced to you and you're just somewhere and you run into it, you got to understand that's your calling. That was something God gifted you to do. And so I've gotten, many times in many cultures, I've gotten it many times in many performances, especially as a performer of color. I've had to turn down events because of rebel flags. I've had to turn down events for a lot of different reasons. As a Black person and working in an all-white collective, I've had to refuse them. And so I just believe in making sure that people understand I belong to the universe. This art belongs to the universe. No one owns this art. This is a historical art. This is an art that you can go anywhere around the world and do. No one can take it from you. No one can train you and take your training. You're either going to continue on with it, or you're going to, have it in you, but it's still in you. And so that's what I, believe as a fire artist, and why I do what I do as a fire artist. This is something that is given to me that I'm passing to others. So, I believe in what I'm doing. I believe I was called to do what it is I'm doing, and I'm gonna put every effort I can into learning the knowledge, learning the style, learning the dance, passing it on to my youth, and letting them know if I stole it, yep, I brought it back. I brought it back to the city. I brought it back to the country. I brought it back to the United States. I'm taking it, around the world, and I won't stop. That's what I would like for the community to know. Blue Flame is here to stay. I'm here to preserve history, carry on tradition, and anyone that doesn't like it, they can kiss my flames.